Aloha, today we're going to be talking about the pros and cons about living up on St. Louis Heights, which is directly behind me. That is a ridge in East Honolulu. It's actually the furthest ridge west in the Diamond Head region of MLS. And it's basically between Palolo valleys and Manoa valleys. And directly behind me you have St. Louis High School, which shares the same campus as Chaminade University. And what's really cool about St. Louis Heights is it's straddled by two universities on either side. You have Chaminade, which is a private university on the east side, and the University of Hawaii at Manoa on the west side of the ridge. So it's a great place for professors and students to live. And there is a condo building behind me we'll talk about a little bit, which is Regency Park. It's the only condo building here in St. Louis. And where I am right now is right off of Waialae Avenue at the entrance to St. Louis High School and Chaminade University. However, right across the street is a really cool plate lunch place called St. Louis Drive-In, which has been around for ages. Okay, now directly behind me is the start to St. Louis Drive, which is right off Waialae Avenue. And what's great about this location is you've got City Mill, which is a local hardware store, which is directly behind you. So a lot of these homes up on St. Louis Heights that we're going to jump into here shortly were built back in the 50s. So a lot of them are going to need upgrades over time. I just got done with the showing today that was, relatively original condition. So what's great is you do have City Mill hardware store. It's been around for, I think, over 100 years. It's a great local chain here in Hawaii. And although we're going to be talking about the homes in St. Louis Heights, there is one condo project directly behind me, and this is called Regency Park, which is right next to St. Louis High School. So a lot of people think about living on St. Louis Heights as being up on a ridge, but not everyone is aware that Dole Street runs along the base or the bottom or western side of St. Louis Heights. I have St. Louis Heights directly behind me here, but what runs along the base is Dole Street, and not everyone realizes it, but the homes along here actually fall under St. Louis Heights from an MLS perspective. So sometimes you'll see homes here and they don't really have any views, and that's the reason why. But we're going to talk about this throughout the production here, is that St. Louis Heights, one of the attractive things going forward is its proximity to the University of Hawaii. So you'll see directly behind me here, you've got several of the towers for the dormitories. And the main campus is directly down Dole Street there. You've got some cranes with some construction going on. But yeah, once again, one of the perks about living on St. Louis Heights is its proximity to the University of Hawaii at Manoa. Alrighty, when you first come up St. Louis Drive, directly behind me here, it comes off of Waialae Avenue as you start shooting up the hill. And then you're going to come to an intersection, which is the first of a few major forks in the road, no pun intended. Directly behind me there would be St. Louis Drive, which runs you up the hill, and that will take you to the western flank of the ridge. And then directly behind me here to the right is Chaminade Drive, which takes you to the eastern flank of the hill. And they're two a little bit different neighborhoods, and there's pros and cons about both. And first we're going to dive into the western side of the hill, then we'll come back and hit the eastern side. Now we're up further up on St. Louis Heights, up on the corner of Bertram and Peter Streets. And behind me in the backdrop, I'm trying to give you a perspective of what typical living is like up here. You do have incredible views of Diamond Head out the back here, as well as Waikiki from a number of the homes. But you do have overhead power lines, which you'll see, which can obstruct some of the views. And typically you're going to have R5 zoning typically, or R7.5. So lots are a little bit tight, close together up here. And then you're dealing with topography on the hill. Typically it's either going to be an upslope or downslope. But here we are on the western flank of St. Louis Heights. And then we're going to talk about the eastern flank, or what's called, it's eastern flank of St. Louis Heights. One of the cool things about St. Louis Heights is at the very top of the ridge, you have Wa'ahila State Recreation Park. And this is a park up here at the top of the hill. There's actually a trail at the very back. There's public parking. And at the start of the park, the road is going to be behind me here with the parking. But there's a trail here directly behind me. And that's a trail that starts at the very bottom of the hill near UH, and you can take it all the way up. It's a great hike. It's got great views. It's been a while since I've done it. I did it a bunch when I was in college. However, yeah, this is one of the perks up here on St. Louis Heights is Wa'ahila Ridge, and I'm going to show you a little bit more of the scenery here as well. As I may have mentioned earlier, St. Louis Heights is a great place for University of Hawaii professors because you have Manoa Valley directly to the west, right behind me. And there we have Manoa to the west. So it's directly down the hill from St. Louis Heights. And it's a great spot where a lot of not only students, but University of Hawaii professors love it up here because it's not too far from the campus, but yet you've got the beauty and the views of Honolulu, but yet it's a different climate. So obviously being in Manoa Valley, today it's a little bit cloudy, but typically you'll get rain there most days of the year. Whereas up on St. Louis Heights, it's a little more arid, and the rain, if it were to rain up here, would kind of fall off the sides of the ridges. But let me take you over here just once again to get a perspective of where top of St. Louis Heights is compared to Manoa Valley. And there you have Manoa Valley. You're gonna have Manoa Valley Falls hike there in the back of the valley. And then as you come further down the valley, you've got several of the not just public and private schools, and Manoa Valley Shopping Center. And then that road on that ridge across the way will actually take you up to Tantalus. So that road that kind of carves up the hill, you can see for miles away, takes you all the way up to the top of Tantalus, where you have homes up there as well. But they're a lot more secluded, and some of our water catchment, etc. So here's a little recap to give you an idea once again of Wa'ahila Ridge here on St. Louis Heights. And once again, there is a pretty cool trail if you continue down there, but it starts down near the University of Hawaii. Another perk about living on St. Louis Heights is you can check the surf in Waikiki off Diamond Head, which not everyone is aware about. Did I mention St. Louis's proximity to University of Hawaii? Directly behind me, you could actually see the dome of the Stan Sheriff Center and many of the dormitory towers for the University of Hawaii. Aloha, now we're over on the eastern flank of St. Louis Heights, and one of the major things you're probably going to notice, as opposed to staying on St. Louis Drive, but when you're over here on the eastern flank off Kaminaka Drive, one of the major factors is there are no overhead utilities. You'll see all the utilities are buried underground, so it really opens up the view planes for those that live on this side of the ridge. You're not looking into all the telephone wires, and yeah, that's obviously one of the perks here. And as like any ridge in Honolulu, you're going to get a little more of the morning sun on the eastern side of the ridge versus the afternoon side over on the western side. So that's a wrap here on the eastern flank of St. Louis Heights. If you're thinking about buying or selling on St. Louis Heights, feel free to give us a call. Mahalo.